Alright, a shalom, and Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Brakathum to all Israelites affiliated with GMS, and of course the honor to the elders of GMS, and all glory and praise be to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Alright, now welcome to my Hang Esau on the Gallows page, okay, and I'm Sakurun of the GMS New York camp. And what I'd like to get into today is, I was just looking through a couple of articles on RT today and happened to run into this one here, and it's dealing with Russia, because we got to keep our eyes open with what's going on with Russia. That's Magog in the scriptures, and what's going on with the U.S. and Russia, because that's prophecy, and prophecy is the spirit of Yahushua. Alright, so I want to just read this article here, and bring out a couple of scriptures concerning this. Now it says, House of Representatives passes resolution against Russia. Alright, that's Magog in the scriptures, and it says the U.S. House of Representatives has overwhelmingly approved a document which strongly condemns Moscow's actions against its neighbors, calling them a policy of aggression. Passed with 411 to 10 votes, and that's a unanimous decision right there, with 411 votes to 10. The resolution slams Russia's continuing political, economic, and military aggression against Ukraine, Georgia, and Moldova, and the continuing violation of their sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity. The U.S., Europe, and our allies must aggressively keep the pressure on Mr. Putin to encourage him to change his behavior. He's not going to change his behavior because that goes into Ezekiel the 38th chapter, the Most High putting those hooks into Magog's jaw, and turning them back to how they used to be, they were called the USSR, okay, uh, back to socialism, and that's pretty much what the Lord is bringing them back to, and that's prophecy. So Putin is not going to stop his political views and his policies for the U.S. or any other nation, okay? And it says the U.S., Europe, and our allies must aggressively keep the pressure on Mr. Putin to encourage him to change his behavior. Representative Adam Kissinger, the resolution's sponsor, said. The resolution calls for Russia to stop supporting local militias in eastern Ukraine and for the cancellation of Crimea's decision to join Russia. In addition, it calls on Moscow to withdraw its troops, which the U.S. claims are in Ukraine, Georgia, and Moldova. The House calls on President Barack Obama to provide Ukraine with defense equipment and training. You see, so this is good news, because this is stirring up that pot for the Third World War, and this is mainly they're mainly going after Russia to topple Russia's power so that they could take over Russia, just like they have done with many countries and many nations, for their resources and all that, for their commodities, and for overall for power, and it says Ukraine is clearly in need of urgent military assistance. Representative Ilyana Ross Leitinen said, as quoted by The Hill. Previously, Obama declined Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko's plea for lethal military aid. During his visit to Washington in September, Poroshenko addressed Congress calling to provide Kiev with more military equipment, lethal and non-lethal, drawing applause from the audience. All right, and right here, what you see is Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko addresses a joint session of the U.S. Congress at the Capitol in Washington D.C. on September 18, 2014. It says Thursday resolution also urges NATO, which that's the beast. NATO is the beast. Uh, that it speaks about in Revelation the 17th chapter. Okay, America is the harlot that rides upon it. Thursday resolution also urges NATO members and U.S. allies to suspend military cooperation with Russia. Addressing Obama, the House urged him to review the readiness of U.S. and NATO armed forces under the Conventional Armed Forces in Europe Treaty. The lawmakers agreed that the President and State Department should also find a way to distribute news and information in Russian to countries with Russian-speaking populations. RT's Gayan Chikakyan asked U.S. State Department spokesperson Mary Harf whether this is a fight for more U.S. influence in the region during Thursday's daily press briefing. Harf denied that U.S. wants to fight for influence, saying that it plans to fight for the people of Ukraine and indeed the entire region to get the truth about what's happening on the ground. Bullshit. All right. The main reason why the U.S. wants to go in there is for the same reason they have gone to different countries, like Iraq, for instance. All right, to take it over because of its resources, and to establish a central banking system to put the people in slavery through debt. All right, that's the ultimate goal. That's what it is. Okay. All right, like Michael Rivero has said, all wars are bankers' wars, man. You know, so pretty much they just trying to topple this government, take it over, and put their demonic influences upon it. Okay, but this is not they're not gonna be able to do that with Russia. Okay, because the Most High, is with Russia. All right, to come against the U.S. and NATO. All right, and to fight against them to bring about the the uh, the final outcome, which is the thermonuclear war that's gonna happen. Okay, and it's gonna happen. That's prophesied in the Bible, and all to bring the real nation of Israel back to our land. Okay. Now it says Harp denied the U.S. wants to fight for influence, saying that it plans to fight for the people. They don't give a shit about the people. They want to take over the people and subjugate them to a fractional reserve banking system to make them, slaves. Okay, corporate slaves, just like they have done to the American citizens. All right, and it says, and indeed the entire region to get the truth about what's happening on the ground and to talk about exactly what is happening in a much more truthful way. The lawmaker specified that the resolution was targeting Putin and his policy, but not all Russian people. The resolution follows Putin's speech to Federal Assembly made on Thursday, where he criticized the deterrence policy conducted against Russia by other states. The deterrence policy was not invented yesterday. It has been always conducted towards our country for decades, if not centuries, Putin noted. Every time somebody considers Russia is becoming too powerful and independent, such instruments are turned on immediately. He mentioned that the U.S. has been manipulating foreign relations of Russia's neighbors, adding that sometimes you don't even know to whom it is better to talk to, the governments of certain countries or directly to their American patrons. Okay, so it says, read more. House of Representatives resolution declares Cold War. So pretty much, the Cold War is still in effect, or being reawakened. The Cold War era is being reawakened, or revisited again. And that's all pursuant to the scriptures, like I said. And it says the relations between the two states have got colder in the past decade and will deteriorate even more following the adoption of the H House of Representatives 758 bill, warns former Republican Dennis Kucinich. NATO encirclement. The U.S.-backed coup in Ukraine, an attempt to use an agreement with the European Union to bring NATO into Ukraine at the Russian border, a U.S. nuclear first strike policy, are all policies which attempt to substitute force to diplomacy, he said, as quoted by TruthDig. Okay, so yeah, so this is just, like I said, some more just keeping an eye open on this situation, because these are the times we're approaching the final conflict, the third world war that the Bible speaks of. All right, the third woe. It says that the third woe cometh quickly. Now this is, these are the preliminary steps to it. All right. So let's read some scriptures, right? I'm sorry. The land of Magog was known as Russia today. All right. Meshach and Tubal. That's talking about what is known today as Turkey, modern day Turkey. Okay. And it says, and prophesy against him, and say, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back, and put hooks into thy jaws. That's talking about Gog also represents the Russians, and the hooks being put into their jaw is them pulling away from that so-called democratic way of government and going back into the socialist way, and to bring them against these nations that they keep on trying to topple them and take them over, man. The U.S. and the European nations, and it says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, and that's talking about Russia's military, and speaking about their weapons, their weapons of war, their modern weapons of war, their tanks and their, of course, their submarines, their submarines that have nuclear warheads aboard, nuclear missiles aboard, that are able to be shot while they're in the water, of course, and their their nuclear defense systems, and of course, the ground troops, their air force, and all that. Okay, and it says Persia. These are all the nations that will be joining Russia. Okay, Persia. Also China will be joining, of course, with Russia, and that Iran, okay, that's Persia. Iran will be joining with Russia. All right, it says Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. This is the coming war. All right, brothers, this is the coming war. We are pretty much very close to this. All right, that's why you got to keep your eyes open every day. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah and the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Alright, so yeah, so that's definitely dealing with Russia. Alright. And alright, let's go here to Revelation 20 and 8. Revelation 28 says, let's see, it says, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in four quarters of the earth. That's talking about the Edomites, Talking about Esau, right? Which that's Satan. That's Satan. When you hear about Satan and the devil, that's talking about the so-called white man. Also, his real name is the Edomites. All right, these Caucasian people, their real nationality is that they are the ancient biblical Edomites. Okay, that's who they are. And it says, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, that's Russia, to gather them together to battle. So this is one step closer what the House of Representatives did to make them turn into their right nature, original nature, which is to be against all these Edomites that are down with NATO and the U.S. To gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. So there's going to be many nations that's going to join with Russia. Okay, China's one of them, of course. And this is a time we're coming to. So Lord willing, entering 2015, we'll be hearing a lot more about what's happening with Russia and the U.S. Man, the eagle and the bear, preparing to fight. All right, so you brothers could read these scriptures, for yourself. Like I said, I'm just doing the job of a watcher, and this is good news, And this article came out today, but right away, man, they hid the article. I had to look, I found it on my phone earlier while I was at work, and then right away, man, they hid it. When I went to their main site here on my computer, So with that, brothers, I want to say shalom, Yahweh Bashem Yashai Brakathum, and stay strong in the faith, and keep on doing the work.